Right. And that's something else, we've been talking about is with each other is, you got to also keep that it's a story that's being told. It's not just a story. So as you're putting that together to keep your audience in mind, and again, everything points to that story and getting that across clearly and according to your script, depending on how you want to get it across.
Right.
Just some of these films you see where maybe the audience wasn't kept in mind as much or left out on a few things, and to keep that in mind, because I mean, what's the point of a story if it's not getting across and being able to portray that to your audience?
Right. And then on the other hand, we have, you have a classic story arc. A classic story arc is what you see most of the time coming out of Hollywood as a classic art story. But then you can get into a minimalist story, or you get into anti-structure. And now you're saying, in a minimalist structure, you're looking at the story being told in a way where it leaves a lot of questions to the audience. You get to anti-structure, and now you don't have, not only it's very difficult to understand, it's more avant-garde, it's more of an art film. Does it still connect with the audience? And the more you get away from the classic storyline structure, the smaller the audience you're going to get,
right,
that are going to be interested in your story. Can you still tell a good story in anti-structure or minimalist? Absolutely, but you have to know why you're doing that.
Right. So, what are some tools that, as we're going through this, and as we're talking about this, and everything is relating to this, what are some things? I know you have a book that you've talked about before. Maybe we could show that.
Yeah, this is Robert McKee story, basically substance, structure, style, and the principles of screenwriting. So it goes into more into screenwriting, but I mean, just to understand story, like if you're a cinematographer and you want to see if you're really connected with a story, it's always good to understand this, the story structure, even if you're not going to be a screenwriter or a script writer. You can still, when you do read scripts, you can go, I understand script writing, I understand story structure, and then you can say, I want to make this film because I know it's going to be good. But if you don't understand story structure, you may get into something and go, wow, all of a sudden you end up editing this piece, or you're working with the editor and you're like, what is a story?
Right. Right.
Does a story boil down to one little thing that you can go, that's what the story is about? And everything is built off of that one concept or one idea.
Right. Well, I mean, I've really appreciated this conversation, and I think it's very important, like you were saying, to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're not just here to play with toys and
even though it's fun,
it is fun. Don't get me wrong.
Right. I mean, you could go to you could have tons of stuff and have fun and everything, but you just make a better toast story.
Right. I mean, it comes back to fit the tool to the job, and that this job and this task that we're so passionate about is story, and that we're constantly keeping that in mind. Everything we do comes right back to that.
Right.
And I think that'll really, really help us get the most out of all this stuff.
Right. And I tell people all the time, tell stories that you are passionate about, something that comes from inside, something that moves you. Why do you want to tell this? Why do you want to put in hundreds of hours to get this story across, maybe to a small audience or to a medium-sized audience or whatever? Why are you doing this? Why are you pulling out the cameras, going through all this effort, if you don't care about what the story's about? And so, and this takes a little soul searching too. I mean, if you're going to work on your own story, you kind of do some soul searching. And what are you passionate about? What moves you? What are you angry about? Is there something going on in politics, or something going on in another country, or the poor, or what's moving you to want to tell the story? And then tell those stories and do them well. And then, people, when you have a story that you're passionate about, people will come alongside you that have that same passion, and they will, they'll volunteer, they'll help out, they'll go, they'll stay away from home for hours, and bring food, which is very important to help you tell that story because you're passionate about it. So really identify a story that you're passionate about, and then, do what you can to tell that story and do it well.
Right.
And take your time.
Well, that's great. I mean, this is really what it's all about, and it sounds like we're getting ready to jump right in. So, coming up, looks like we're talking about cinematography. We've got a lot of examples that we're going to pull together and discuss and walk through. So we hope you join us for those on Home Film School Student. You can find us here on the website. Again, just homefilmschoolstudent.com/podcast. You will find all the avenues in which you can subscribe. So stick around, and we look forward to sharing with you.
Take care.